Hello everybody, Suzanne Connors from Donning Vision's Hypnosis and Reclaim Your Practice in Your Life. Let me ask you a really serious question. Is your practice truly working for you? We know that the insurance companies are forever forcing you to jump through more hoops, filling out more paperwork, to be paid less than your regular and customary payments. And sometimes they deny the extra sessions that you believe your patients actually need in order to get appropriate care. Which begs the question as to whether or not you're able to actually work according to your value system and your philosophies of healing. And I know as a hypnotist that our values are unconscious. We might be consciously aware of them, but they are living in our unconscious mind. And that's why when someone asks you to do something that you don't feel comfortable doing, well, you feel uncomfortable because it goes against your values. So I'm just wondering if you're sick of all that yet. Or how about getting really limited results with your patients? This is something that I hear a lot from psychologists and mental health practitioners. In fact, there was one person who had written a very interesting article stating how it was that he was really sick of dealing with people who were not invested in getting the care that he was working so hard to give them because they weren't ready to heal. Our clients have to be ready to heal. They have to be willing to do the work. All we can do is facilitate it. And that can be really frustrating. Or how about working with patients who have issues that you really don't want to be working with in the first place? I know that there's a lot of people on CORE, for instance, who complain a lot about not being able to find a therapist who's willing to work with borderline personality disorder people, because borderline personality disorder people can be very difficult to work with for many different reasons. I know, I was raised by one. Although I'll also say this. Too many people are actually diagnosed with that particular diagnosis who actually don't have it, because the symptoms overlap many other mental health diagnoses in the DSM, especially number 5, which is a joke. Because you cannot take every single natural human emotion and decide that it needs to be medicated. Only the pharmaceutical companies could do that. But we as practitioners, that is not our job, to put all of our clients' patients on medication. Not really. Yeah, those who have psychotic events could use it. Other than that, there's much better tools and techniques someone can use in order to help our clients and patients heal, so long as they're invested in doing that work. How many of you are sick of having management of your business, meaning the university hospital system, business managers tell you that you have to work harder and harder, see more and more patients, because they're trying to increase the economic viability of the business instead of being concerned about your well-being and those of your patients? Because another thing that I've seen therapists complaining about is all the hours they've had to work and they don't take time to take care of themselves. And you know, because you tell your patients this, how important it is for self-care. And that means eating healthy food. It means getting out and getting some movement into your body. You can't sit around all day long listening to people complaining about their lives and go without exercise on your own. And that could just be walking a beach or playing with your kids or whatever, gardening, whatever it is that you enjoy doing. Bike rides, it doesn't matter. Playing sports, my father, the dentist, loved playing sports, tennis and golf. And he likes square dancing as well, and racquetball toward the end of his life. There's many ways that we can get our activity level up, but we have to enjoy that which we're doing in order to make it happen on a regular basis. So that begs the question of, are you being congruent and in integrity with what you're asking your patients to do? Because if you are not, they see through it and they will not do it. Very kind and wonderful hypnotist who passed away a few years ago would tell a story of how it was that his smoking cessation clients would never stop smoking in the years that he was a smoker. And that's because they could smell smoke in his office, smoke on his breath, And therefore, they understood that it wasn't something that could be done, most likely. Unconsciously, that was the message they received, and it took them a while to figure that out, like after he quit smoking and started getting really good results. So are you in integrity with what you're telling your patients to do? It's an important thing. And having appropriate boundaries. Oh my God, I can't tell you how many people complain about their therapists having inappropriate boundaries. Please stop telling your patients what they think and feel. You have no idea. If you're married, you know how well this is proven in your life. Because your spouse may have done some things that you never thought they were capable of, sadly, in a lot of cases. And by all means, you need to understand when you're projecting your own issues onto your patients, which is something that a lot of people do not understand. If you're a divorcee and you're still angry with your ex, guess what? You don't belong working with the folks that have been divorced because you're still angry. And you're going to make excuses as to why it is they shouldn't forgive their partner. And the only healing that happens is with forgiveness and taking responsibility for their part and why the marriage didn't work. It takes two partners. And sometimes those things that are really difficult to take accountability for because one may not see the problem with what they're doing. Well, the partner obviously didn't agree, or they wouldn't have the feelings that they have. And this is something that we need to be able to acknowledge. So there's many, many, many reasons for the issues that arise in therapy to arise. And these are things that need to be taken into account if you actually are going to get the results that you need to get with your patients for them to be happy with your services. I'd also like to add here that this whole paradigm of management of symptoms is really old-fashioned, based on pharmaceutical companies wanting you to forever give drugs, and for the practices to continue to fill the books with client sessions. But how about having a paradigm where you can actually help your patients to accomplish what they came there to do? Heal their problems so they can move on to having a really great quality of life. Because ultimately, that's what we all as human beings want. A quality of life that is full of fulfillment, contentment, which equals happiness. And I know for my clients, that's my number one goal. They tell me what their compelling features are in the detailed personal history that we begin all the services with, because unless and until you understand what the objectives of the treatment are, there's no reason to do treatment, in my estimation. So they have an evidence procedure to know when they've reached those goals, those objectives in our work. And that's the correct time to terminate, and not before, without having to hold them for the rest of their lives. Because guess what? This whole idea that we have to be forever codependent or have our patients be codependent on us is sick. It is really sick. They need to have the tools and techniques in order to help themselves, because that's what all adults need. Being an adult means that you're capable of taking care of yourself, which means that you don't have to rely on other people to help you to function in this world. I'm not saying that people won't come back at some point later on if some other issues arise, but to think that they need to see you week after week, month after month, year after year, decade after decade, because you're going to help them in some special way, is ridiculous. That's keeping them ill and dysfunctional. That's not helping them get on with their lives. So if you actually are willing to perceive what you do in a paradigm of healing and helping your patients to actually move on to a really great quality of life, which is probably the reason you got into this field in the first place, how about shifting your paradigm to healing? And how about learning how to integrate hypnosis, neurolinguistic programming, and timeline therapy into your practices so you can easily and effectively help your clients heal their issues and live their compelling futures, so they do have fulfilling, happy lives. Because they deserve that as much as you do. And your kids do, if you have kids. If you're interested in learning how to do that, you can certainly leave a comment and let me know below the video. We'll set up a time to get together so I can explain to you what it is that I offer and how it works. You could do a 1-day VIP or 2-day VIP. It depends on what you need to learn in order to meet your own objectives. And I'm also starting a group in the middle of February for 4 lucky psychologists who want to learn how to do this work and be mentored, so they can work with their patients and get their answers to the questions as to the best technique to use with any given patient in whatever situation their patient finds themselves in. Because, as you know, having gone through your own clinicals to learn how to do what you're doing, that is a really important part of being able to apply this work appropriately for the best interest of both you and your patients. As always, I thank you for spending your time with me. Till next time. Bye-bye all.